Hey guys, welcome to our AnimDojo Podcast, the sort of very first. I'm Bader Badrudin, you guys know me.
And I'm Tom Box, and I'm co-founder of Blue Zoo and AnimDojo.
And the guy who pretty much built the entire website from scratch. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of launch this. We've been thinking about it for a while. And this podcast is going to be a little different to kind of the other animation podcasts in the sense that it focuses a little bit more on practical things that really can relate to someone who is still starting out or trying to find a job. I mean, even if you're still a student, you'll be able to find some of the tips and topics that we cover quite useful. Because one of the things that we've noticed is many podcasts, and they're a great resource for inspiration. We talk to someone who's been in the industry for several years. It's great to aspire to that, but we wanted to find some way to make it a bit more practical and down to earth for you guys.
So we've got a series of podcasts coming up touching on different subjects such as making show reels, to getting interviews, to what to do in interviews, and also to starting your first job or second job at an animation studio. So there's lots of practical advice to help you get a job and help you do well once you're in a job.
Yeah, and as everything AnimDojo, everything evolves, and who knows where this takes us. It'd be great to kind of hear your feedback, what kind of things you enjoyed from this podcast, and what you'd like us to discuss in the future. So for our very first topic, we have decided to go with festival etiquette. Now, a lot of students attend festivals, a lot of animation studios are there to recruit, to promote their work, for people to be aware of them. Universities, it's a very, very big thing in animation. And, there's a lot of places that tell you go to festivals, do these, do that to attract attention, to get a job. But one thing missing is what to do, what not to do when you're at a festival. And again, if we bumped into you at Vertex, this, if it just so happens to sound like something that happened between some of us with you, it's not. It was just a coincidence. This is a topic that we've been thinking about for a while now, actually, because we've been to so many festivals. We talked to so many students, junior animators, and, it's sort of like a sourced list from a lot of people that were there.
And it's really just patterns we recognise. We thought, let's talk about the common things that happen. So it's not talking about anyone in particular. It's just themes we thought would be good to talk about to try and help people get the most out of festivals and get jobs.
Exactly. So we were at Vertex with Hannah and Will. So Hannah is one of our look dev artists here at Blue Zoo, and Will is an animation director. So it was great to also have their input with us on this podcast.
So we're talking about festival etiquette as we're at Vertex Conference, and we've been given lots of show feedback today, and we thought it'd be good to talk about the do's and don'ts of festivals. So has anyone got any advice on, I guess, why should you come to a festival?
Well, it's a great place to at least put faces to the show reels that we get, and as a industry we tend to work behind our desks, staring at computers all day, and even if we do connect, it's usually on LinkedIn or Facebook. But these are good opportunities to sort of just see who you are, interact with you, and just kind of be a bit more natural about it, just more casual.
It's a great networking event as well, so it's kind of like a mini interview before you have an official interview. So it's kind of like you get to meet an artist, get to know them a bit better in a really casual format, and then you sort of, they're a nice guy, hey, keep in contact, I remember this fella later on, get in for an interview, and you've already made a good impression before you've met. So it's a great way to start a nice relationship with the studio.
And it does make a big difference, because if you met someone at a festival who's got some great work and they're really friendly and they're a nice person,
yep,
and then you see their reel pop up when you're looking, you will pay extra close attention to that reel.
I just met a student today, and also they're midway through a project, and I told her to give us I'll be looking forward to their work when it's finally completed, and it'd be great. I'll recognise their work, and it gives a really good first impression, and see from their work in progress, and then seeing their final piece and how they've taken on the feedback, or from coming to the studio and on stand.
And I think that's quite an important thing, is you remember who you've given feedback to, and then you remember if they've taken it on or not. And that's for us, as as an employer, that's very important, if people take feedback or not, or just disregard it.
Yeah.
Staying in touch and having a good connection with people is definitely one of the biggest ways that you can either get a job or even get rehired on a new project. So that's why it's really important to see people face to face, because a lot of people think it's just about your work, but it is a lot about your attitude and how you approach things. And these events are a really good place for you to explore that, to share how you are.
There have been a few times when I met a few students and their work has been that good that they've kind of gone to the top of my mental pile to like, oh, we need to get this person in, we need to get this person in. And there's been an occasion now where I've been trying to keep in contact with a current student, because this work is that good that I want to make sure when he's graduated that we have this relationship, and I can, hopefully get him in for an interview when he's ready. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't meet him at an event like this, or like one of these festivals. That just wouldn't. It would just be another student in a real bank.
Cool. So if someone wants to come and get a job at your studio and they're coming to the festival, what should they do to impress?
Don't be shy. I think that's one of the worst things and I know it's easy to say don't be shy, but you're here to meet people at these studios. So if you're sort of standing there looking a bit timid, that's not a good first impression. So you need to sort of try to make a nice first impression, because you only have one shot at that, and if you don't hit that quite first time, then it's not great. So sort of just be confident, and sort of just asking questions is just a great way to show that you're keen and that you want to join the studio, that you're willing to learn. If you're sort of standing there like umming and ahhing, you haven't come prepared. It just doesn't look great. So just prepare yourself for what you may or may not say.
I think to add to that, when you just mentioned to be coming prepared, one of the things that I also find to be a big factor in how I view someone's work is when they say they want me to look at their showreel, and I say sure, I don't mind, and then it takes them like 5-10 minutes just to take out their laptop, log in, give me their headphones, which aren't even the type you can put on top of your ears, or the ones you have to stick inside. So it's just all these things that sort of just make me think, if you came in and you had it either on your phone or your iPad or something, or some kind of tablet, where it's just a quick thing, would you like to look at my reel? And they just put it in front of me. I'm more likely to want to really engage with it, and to make sure that you don't also over ask questions, over discuss things, to kind of obviously we want to engage with people, and we want to help them and answer all their questions, but at the same time it's understanding that there's other people that want to also discuss things, they want to talk to us, and it's just kind of having that balance. Really, it's not about being too shy and too timid, but also not being too overpowering. It's kind of a nice balance in the middle, just to kind of be able to just common sense, really.
The thing that really annoys me is a weak handshake, for one. If you're meeting someone and you get this little wet lettuce of a hand back, just go in with try and break my fingers. That's just me and a bugbear. I want a good hearty handshake.
But don't do the I'm going to squeeze your hand before you squeeze my handshake. No. Be firm.
The Donald.
Yeah, it's the Donald.
I think the worst one you can do is sort of you be a bit lurkery, and you walk one way past the store, you walk the other way, and you sort of stand and you leave and you come back. Just be determined and be confident in that you're approaching something. So again, it's all about, for me, it's about the first impression.
When it comes to talking to a student or someone about our work or whatever feedback, but when it gets kind of tailing towards the end of a conversation, sometimes it feels a bit awkward. Are we done talking? And then giving the impression that, oh, okay, that's great. Just apply for the website, and then. But sometimes I'm never sure if I'm finishing a conversation with one person before I can talk to another. next.
So just go and have a nice chat, and then
That's what you need to do.
move on and chat to other people.
Yeah, don't overstay your welcome. Because you have to bear in mind that the people behind the stalls have been talking probably for hours before. They're going to be talking for hours afterwards, and there's a queue of people who they want to get to. So just try to keep your time brief. Say what you have to say. Ask as many questions as you want, but just remember there are other people and people behind the stalls who want to go for lunch as well as you do.
So don't be annoyed if you have to go for lunch.
Yes, as well. And don't tut if you're at the front of the queue and suddenly they go for lunch.
Don't give me a business card, because honestly, the amount of emails alone that we get and applications and let alone other things we do as directors, and we've got like so much on our plate. It's so much better if I give you my card and then you contact me, but at the same time it's about how much you contact. So it's like, it's okay to contact once every couple of months maybe, just to kind of keep in touch, but not to sort of be sort of pestering and constantly asking, is there a job, can you see my reel, can you do this, can you do that. It's like there's a fine balance, and we understand that people are eager and they're passionate, and that's probably why they might go overboard. But definitely giving your card out, I don't know, I guess some places recommend that, go and students design their own cards, and they're really elaborately designed, but the chances of me remembering who this card belongs to and what work unless I asked for your card specifically, most likely I will not be able to contact. It's so much better if you were to get in touch yourself.
I think the main thing is you've got to be proactive when you're job hunting, because there's a lot of people job hunting, and a recruiter doesn't have time to sift through a pile of 100 cards to email out. You have to do the emailing, so it's just about...
It's your job to grab my attention, not mine to remember what I saw that day. I could have seen your work and have said, wow, it's brilliant, and you give me your card, but then after so many people and so many reels, it's hard to put the names to the faces to the reels. You still need to be, most of the people that got employed at Blue Zoo as animators who I interacted with had done that. They had sort of not pestered, but they got in touch with the right amount of times. I was able to recommend them, and it was just one of those things where it's like I remembered their faces, I remembered their work, and they contacted me at the right time, and it just so happened to be the right place, right time.
So I guess it's best to check in a couple of times a year, not a couple of times a week.
So one more tip would be, if you just kind of come by to the table and just pick up the free stuff and go and not talk to us, that just kind of gives a very odd impression that you're not really interested in the studio and that you're just interested in the free stuff. So please, even if you want the free stuff, come and talk to us and make a conscious effort.
So I guess that's a lot of negatives. Those out of the way. What would you say is the best way? Has anyone ever really impressed you when you've been to a festival and seen their work? What are the do's rather than the don'ts?
I've got one that I usually really like. It stands out to me. It's when someone comes to me with a very specific question. They know exactly what they want to find out. I give them the information. They're very friendly about it. They're very professional, and they take whatever material that we're giving out, and they're just pleasant, and they sort of then continue, and I bump into them again, and we'd have a quick chat, and these are the people I usually remember the most, because it was a positive experience. So I really enjoy it when someone is really direct and they know what they want.
I heard a great tip. Someone said whenever they went to a festival and met different recruiters, they went back home and had a spreadsheet of every recruiter they met, and then wrote down when they met them. So then they could then email them and saying, I met you at this festival and that festival. And it just makes you feel a bit more like they've actually remembered it, rather than they've just spoken to every single person under the sun and then not remembered. So it's a very easy thing to do, but it helps you kind of stay in contact, because it's hard to remember everyone you've met. So it's a little small thing.
It's easy to remember faces, so it's sort of, if you have enough time to strike a nice conversation with someone as well, so you have a bit of back and forth. So if you remember, for example, there's a fellow who turned up today, and I remembered he worked in the construction industry, and I was able to just ask him about that. How's that going? He's like, I want to leave, want to be an animator. I was like, great, you're doing the right stuff. So it's just the best I find is to try to sort of make it a two-way thingy, rather than question answer. If you can make it more relaxed and more of like a little chat, that's they're more memorable than the ones who are talking at your face.
I've had people on LinkedIn, they add me. I don't know who this person is, but then I've had a couple where they add me and they tell me, oh, I was at your talk for this university. So when you add someone on LinkedIn or talk to someone, just introduce yourself a little bit, and I'm like, oh yes, I remember doing that, and I kind of clock in like, oh, what I did then, and just sort of in context with this person. It's really good. And I had a student that messaged me a few weeks ago, and I replied to them recently, and by chance I came here today and came across the student as well, and that was really nice to meet her in person, as well as she messaged me, and yeah, we made a really good connection, and I'm quite looking forward to her work when it's done.
So they just stick in your mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, here's a good tip that has always worked for people that did this with me. If you don't expect anything in return in your message, so for example, say you send an email a couple of days after a festival, for example, where either the person gave a talk or a workshop or they were just recruiting, and you just basically not expect anything in return, just kind of saying thank you or I enjoyed it. I'm more likely wanting to communicate in the future if you do come back at me with something where you wanted me to look at your work, you wanted me to like give you some showreel advice. It's just kind of that not requiring something in return that just feels genuine, and it just makes you look appreciative and professional. So I think that's really, really important.
And makes you look just friendly,
Exactly,
rather than just wanting something. And of course you want a job, but being friendly is part of that.
Yeah.
There's also been times when I've been given real feedback, and I'd say about 90% of the time, the feedback I get, people just nod and yep, oh, I can see that. 10% are the ones who take notes, and they look like they're like going to implement these notes. Even if they're not going to do it, that's fine. But the fact that they're looking like they might is a good. I'll remember them. Oh, he looked keen to take on my notes, and it looked great. So always take a little notebook, write stuff down. Even if it's just for show, it still looks pretty cool that you're doing it.
Actually, there's another positive thing. It's a positive that could become a negative, but it's initially a positive. Because a lot of people that go and do the festivals are usually the same people from the same company, or alternating people. And if we keep seeing the same faces, it's a sign that you're a very passionate, keen person. Coming and saying, oh, I applied before, but you guys didn't reply. That's not a very good image to reflect on how you perceive yourself, because if we didn't reply, maybe you either didn't make the cut or we found someone who is a little bit more appropriate for the job. We have some of our AnimDojo students who I've been bumping into every single festival, and they're very professional. They just pass by and say hi, and I know that these are people that stick in my mind, and it's just it's a balance, really.
So if you do see the same recruiter at festival after festival, what do you think is a good thing to do so you can keep in contact but not be annoying or pestering?
My advice would be say hello, maybe, and if you do have new work to show, that's when you should probably pester them again. But in general, I would say unless things have changed on your side, there's probably no point in wanting to show them your work and wondering why you didn't get a job, or focus on yourself. Make yourself a better person in terms of your output, whatever it is that you're doing, and only then can you keep coming back. But in general, I would say just saying hello is fine.
I think just checking in, that's all you got to do. If you've got nothing to show, just go in, say, oh, hi, how you doing? Is it all going right? That's enough.
Reminding them you exist,
yeah,
and you're out there and you're looking for work still.
That's all you got to do, and it's just to remind that recruiter that, oh, he's a friendly or she's a friendly person. That's it, and then you will just remember that. That's all you got to do, to create that relationship.
So one of the things I advise you to do or not to do is sometimes I've watched students showreel from their tablet or phone, but their tablet or phone is quite dirty, and lots of fingerprint smudges, and it was almost like it was hard. I was so distracted by the screen rather than actual work. So because obviously I understand going around showing lots of people, so it's understandable it gets a bit fingerprint marks, but just kind of
try to at least wipe it before you pass it on to me. Or
it may be strange, but it kind of helps.
Take a pack of wet wipes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've said it before, but again, do not hand me, headphones that go inside the ear, because just from a hygienic...
Headphones covered in earwax don't go down well.
But the amount of times that was handed to me, like, it's just...
That's another thing, is also at a festival, you've got to see a lot of people. So when someone sits down and shows their 10-minute student film, it's like, it's really awkward because it's like, I don't have time to watch this because there's a queue of like 10 other people. And now I feel you put me in this awkward position where I'm going to have to stop your work halfway through because we can give you feedback in a couple of minutes or a minute of work. We don't need to sit through as beautiful as a final kind of project it might be. You've got to bear in mind that everyone else is there to speak as well, and that reflects on you as a potential employee if you don't care about everyone else in the queue and it's all about me.
If you can show work on a bigger laptop or a tablet is great, or something which you can frame by frame as well, because it's so annoying holding a phone, scrolling through it, trying to rewatch that thing back again and again and again. Just so much easier in QuickTime or something where you can just frame by frame back and do it that way. That makes a difference as well. If you come with a laptop, look at this, fine. Handing a phone is just like, oh, okay.
Can I add one more thing as well? That's actually, that for me is a personal thing, and I'm sure it is for a lot of studios. If you walk up to me and you say, "Oh, what do you guys do?" You know, it almost feels like, well, why should I bother now explaining what we do? Because it seems like if you saw it and you were intrigued, go back somewhere, like Google us, quickly check what we do. Because when someone comes in and says, "Oh, Blue Zoo, I love your work," you know, straight away I'm like, yeah, you're a potential keeper. So fake it, even if you've never seen the studio that you're approaching. Just fake it. Go Google them, figure out what they're all about, because it just reflects better on you. I'm not going to say it reflects badly on you if you don't know the studio. I mean, you know, not every studio is known everywhere, but it reflects so much better if you actually come approach and say, "Oh, I love this thing that you did," or "I love that." Simple.
So, if everyone had one tip to give out of all of that, what would be your number one bit of advice?
Just don't linger. Say your piece, and then make sure you're memorable, and then go. Don't outstay your welcome.
Memorable in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. I mean, in a bad way, it's also quite fun as well. Like, oh no, not again. But just say it and leave, and let someone else have their turn to talk to the recruiter.
So be nice in conversation and mentality.
Yes. Sure.
I would say just relax. I mean, we're people. We're not going to bite. Just talk to us. We're here to talk to you. So just approach us. We're friendly. We're not going to, even if you're feeling a bit uncomfortable or awkward, we're going to...
So are we.
Yeah, I mean, we're all the same. We're all artists.
And the whole reason we're here is to talk to you, right?
Exactly. So. Yeah, so, just relax. Just don't panic over it.
Enjoy yourself, because I think this idea of when you're a student and the idea of the industry is almost kind of glorified, but remember that we all came from the same place where there was this time for all of us where we start from the very beginning, and just be very friendly and approachable, and don't be nervous. It's okay. We understand you're learning. So.
I think that's true, because essentially everyone in the industry are students who got a bit more experience and getting paid. So everyone is just people, and everyone was a student a few years ago.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, that's it. I'm just a slightly older student. Yeah.
Okay, so that was our festival etiquette for you. It kind of goes without saying that these networking events are so important for anyone, really, not just someone who's starting out, but it's a good place to put faces to the artists that we don't tend to see. They always say that you need to be in the right place at the right time, to kind of get that lucky shot. But you increase your chances by tenfold every single time you go to all these different events, because people get to see you more and they get to see your work. So regardless of whatever you do, whether it's good or bad, just the fact that you show up from time to time, you will learn more about how to navigate these festivals and how to make the most out of it.
I think at festivals, it's important to remember it's not just meeting studios, it's meeting your peers, because a lot of jobs happen through referrals where people ask in studios, do you know anyone looking for a job? And the more people you know, the more chances of someone saying, yeah, my friend's looking for a job, and then loads of people get jobs that way. So it's meeting peers and meeting studios, and at the same time you can go to all the amazing talks at festivals to improve your skills. So it's a win-win in every respect. So we say get out there, go to loads of festivals and meet people.
Yeah, just, increase your chances, and don't be shy, don't be afraid. We're all there, we're all artists, we're all trying to just make entertainment. So we already have that in common. There's no reason to not want to be able to speak to someone or to feel awkward about certain things.
So we've done festival etiquette, and then upcoming podcasts include making your show reels, what to do and what not to do in interviews, and then starting in studios. And we'll be chatting to loads of studios like Jellyfish and Frame Store and getting their insights, and also chatting to people who have recently got into the industry to get their take on what was different from what they're expecting in terms of going from education into industry, to really help share their advice.
So yeah, it's thanks for listening, and let us know what you think, and if there's anything in particular that you want us to discuss as well, we're always open to that. And it'd be great if you guys could like and share this, just help spread the word, because the more people that know about AnimDojo, the more chances there are for them to find jobs. So yeah,
cool.
Thanks.
Cheers for listening, and hope to do it again soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.